What's a wicked system? A wicked system would be like, imagine a child in a learning environment where they do something and the response that they get seems to have nothing to do with what they did. You know, sometimes you get a slap, sometimes you get an apple for doing the same thing, right? So they don't understand what is good behavior and bad behavior. That's called a wicked environment. There's no concrete feedback. And the problem with most really interesting dynamical systems like the Earth or energy systems is they're wicked. You do the same thing twice, and sometimes it's good for you, and sometimes it's bad. And this is because it's nonlinear. Okay. And so this is where I get to show my demo. So can we somehow make my room the center?
Yeah. So for everyone, you'll have to switch to Professor Arjendu's screen for this. This is a very interesting exercise.
Okay. So I hope you can see me.
Yeah.
Can anyone see this double pendulum here? Okay. So this is just a pendulum. Everyone knows how pendulum works. They just go tick, 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 tick. And if I do this at the linear mode, where I do this and do this, basically the behavior is identical. There's not much difference, even though I was kind of rough with how I did it. There's no real difference. But if I go into the nonlinear mode, where also the swinging can happen because it's very high, I take it to what I think is the middle, and I let go. And then it does all sorts of crazy stuff, including, I hope you are surprised by how it seems to have lots of energy and seems to be moody. But I did the same thing again, and look, this time, I don't know if you were counting, but it did not do as many left loops as it did right loops. Okay, and now we can switch back, and then I go to Blender again. Okay, so we can switch back to the webinar. I'm not really showing you that thing again. I'm happy to later. Back there, as far as I'm concerned, you should catch that in a nonlinear system, a small change can have a major impact. And if it's attached to other big systems with the same thing, by the time it comes back to you, the original may look nothing like the initial input, even though they're very close. Okay? And one consequence of this is sometimes they're coexisting states. I don't know if you've ever heard the silly song by Harry Belafonte called "There's a Hole in Your Bucket," but he basically describes a system where he can't fix something because there's a hole in his bucket. By the time we figure out that to fix the hole in his bucket, he needs to get water. He says, "See, now I can't fix the hole in the bucket because how am I going to get water?" So, there's a system that could simultaneously be up here, functional, or broken down here, and going from here to here seems to require an infinite number of steps instead of one step. And the best way for me to think about this is a wicked complex system is one where you don't understand how to explain things at different levels. For example, I would tell you that the wetness of water is neither in hydrogen nor in oxygen. Physicists, they understand hydrogen and oxygen completely, but I would have predicted wetness. I can say that wetness is not forbidden by physics, but I would not have predicted wetness. Right? So that's all I can say. And the net result of all this, apart from everything else, is that something you should keep track of is that a living system is a thermodynamically open complex system where mass and energy comes through and you do work as energetic work as output. I assume all these words sort of make sense to you. If not, I hope you have an intuitive sense of it. You eat, you burn energy, and that's why you live. If you don't eat and you don't burn energy, you're dead. I'm sorry to tell you. Right? So thermodynamically, any living system is that. I just showed you that. We can keep moving. I just moved. We can keep moving on. And the fact that this affects the economy is well established. I'll just show you some clear correlations. If you actually plot the number of joules of energy burned, or it's some strange unit otherwise, you find that there's a one-to-one with the world GDP and the world population. Okay, we can move on to the next slide. This is just a simple fact, and this is particularly true after the Industrial Revolution, and the correlation persists to date. Okay, if you are a wealthy economy, then you burn energy. There's no choice. There's no way to make money without burning energy. Let's just put it that way. There's no way to be economically active without using energy, except it's shifting slowly with the service sector. But at the moment, there's some interesting things happening there. And I have theories about that. But crudely speaking, energy is a good proxy for economy, it turns out. So the economists fortunately have to listen to a scientist once in a while. Okay, keep going. And I'm not going to do that television thing because it's pointless. And the only thing to worry about here is whether energy flows downhill or not. Okay, what does that mean is, and this is where I might, or maybe I'm talking too long, but anyway, this is where I want to just remind you of some physics. You know, you've been told energy is conserved, and someone says, oh, energy is conserved, but don't waste energy. Right? If it's conserved, how am I wasting energy? You know, you might say, what is this concept? How can it both be conserved and I'm wasting it? The thing is, think about when I say energy is conserved, think of a ball falling. Okay? The potential energy is getting converted to kinetic energy, then it hits the ground and and it's gone. What happened? Where did that energy go? Well, it's conserved. It just went into the air molecules. It went into the sound waves that went into your ears, and you have stolen some energy by absorbing that sound energy in your ear. It's been shared across. So energy going downhill, the second law of thermodynamics, the whole entropy must increase thing, it just means that it's shared with more and more things, so it becomes less and less useful. Okay, this is just a fact. Okay. The same amount of energy in the air as there was before in the ball, but it's very not useful. Whereas that ball, if I dropped it on something, at least I could have moved something or broken something, or if the ball was actually drops of water, that's exactly how hydroelectricity works. Like turns something that generates electricity. And the thing is that we are an open energy system. We've just had this giant storage going on with fossil fuels for the last millennia, and we're running out that battery of storage that we had, so how do we substitute? Right? That's basically the storage there. And so now I'm going to shut up and let you watch a video.
This was the first time that I've ever been to Asia and been in this type of environment or been on a farm. It's really interesting to see both this side of the world and also the problems that people are struggling with and some potential solutions that people have been working with. Talk to farmers and learn firsthand the struggles they've been dealing with, and then see the implementation of new technology or also the reallocation of old technology to have new uses.
I think it kind of gives me an appreciation of how you need to actually be on the ground to find solutions and to brainstorm ideas as opposed to just researching.
I definitely learned a lot about India's energy issues because I really feel like I was very ignorant before I came here, and the relationship between agriculture and like energy issues, which I really wasn't aware of before.
I care about making the world a better place. I think that if you think too broadly, it's hard. You can easily get caught up in the big picture stuff. But if you zoom in, like for example, the project that we're working on, if you just look at the actual irrigation system, the rice that's going to be grown here, and the energy that it takes to grow that rice in the form of transporting the water, I care about making the small things work.
The problems in the world are like really big and you can't fix them, but if we each do like a small thing, then something is still being done. So not like giving in to like helplessness.
Where's Pondicherry? Where's Tamil Nadu? Just in case for some students you don't know. But the thing about where's Pondicherry is really just to tell you that this has been a beautifully important place for hundreds of years because it is on a trade route, which is again about energy. Those are important when you have to sail. Now you don't sail, it's not so important trade route. Very simple. Okay. So we looked at this farm which basically could have made money but didn't because lots of things, including weird electricity, water was basically flood irrigation. The place would just flood, and they would just try to pump it out over the place. Moving on.
Yeah.
So yeah, part of the issue with electricity is that the state government is struggling, but how much to charge for it? If they don't charge for it, there are issues. And anyway, it burns out. Plus, it produces coal when you do. Carbon dioxide when you do it. So there's always this thing of contributing to the environmental loss in the first place. I don't want to go into the full discussion, but basically, there's a wastage of water which destroys the land because it's not held down, and livelihood goes down. So that's why we call it water-energy-land-livelihood nexus. Okay, well, nexus. It's also a good compact way of thinking about it. So we propose a solution. Moving on. This is just general idea to show you why we weren't making money. And this is what I was telling you about. Everything was energy security, water security, food security, all of this because of all these issues. Free electricity is not as good as it sounds. And when you have free electricity, everything burns up because everyone puts it down simultaneously, then everyone leaves the pumps on all the time, and all sorts of bad things happen, waiting for electricity to come because there's not enough. So the proposed fix was, next slide please. Was to use the more efficient pumps, solar PV, and some advanced technologies that we had, and we took advantage of some government schemes to figure out a huge way of saving things and actually making this profitable. So moving on, basically, what we did was we built a water storage unit we dug out the part where the water used to collect and made it deeper so the water would go in there. We took the farm, and they took the mud from the dig out and made a high water storage unit, which is where you saw us building what we were standing on. All that mud we were standing on was a high water unit. So when there's a monsoon, the water collects in the lake, and then they pump it up using a solar PV into the storage unit up there. And now you've got energy and water storage in that the system is up there because gravity will allow the water to flow out. So you basically effectively stored energy by storing the water high. So that's one of the most interesting ways of getting away with this. And we claim that you're back to the potential earnings. And next, please. The important part is we designed it. The narrative is the same YouTube video. Keep moving on. So we did this. And here's the best part. Tamil Nadu state government agreed. We were the test case, and they're putting in 20,000 farms, and 250 megawatts of solar capacity has been added. And so I could feel slightly less guilty, but flying to Bangalore to work with Atria, right? Because I've drawn down some of my carbon burden by doing this. Because flying to England is very expensive. So that is the carbon expenses, not money expenses. That's it really, except for one thing I want to leave you with. It's in French because it seemed appropriate. Because I was working in the French-speaking part of India after all, Pondicherry and Oroville. But also because this is the guy who wrote The Little Prince, and all 16, 17, 18-year-olds should read The Little Prince. This is a very, very wise book. But he has a very wise thing to say. He says, when it comes to the future, don't predict it, and you can't because of chaos, deterministic unpredictability, but to make it possible. Okay? So it's for you to create, not to predict. All right, thank you much.
Thank you so much, Professor. I hope that our dear students will consider this almost their responsibility as they are picking up their career choices to address this burning issue. Professor, I think what stood out for me, something that was very interesting was that these problems, and I think that was the point of demonstrating through the pendulum, that it's such a complex system that you cannot almost fully understand it. Right? So even when implementing this project, I just want to get a sense, how much of that project was envisioned in the classroom on a paper, and how much of it was you went there and then you realized what you were doing?
Right. I think to pretend that my students had any idea what the solution was foolish. Right? What we wanted to do was learn by acting. So what we were doing was basically, so the only thing So I said this casually, but one of the best things about this was I worked very closely with Orville's, Orville Green Practices. There's this person, everyone there, they're not degree theorists and physicists, right? They are people who, they stake the lives on the ground. So people who are leading us actually do not have engineering. They're just people who've been working in solar engineering for the last 10 years, right? Because they'll say, as they say, you know.
Right.
So that's the best thing about the carbon burden thing I'm saying. When you think you're spending on yourself, then your voice should matter. The most effective way of spending the money is to solve someone else's problem, then find out what their problem is by listening to them. Right? We never told them what to do. So what are you doing? Oh, wow. Well, how can we help? And they said this way. Right? So the solution I'm presenting is theirs. The guy you saw with the one arm, that farmer, he's been there for 20 plus years.
Wow.
And this is the one he thought of. He said, this is the only way we can do it. I need help with this stuff. But the big picture was his, right?
Okay.
So
And what was your group? What was your group of students like? Because you said this is not just about energy. This is not just about installing solar.
Maybe one physics class. One physics class in US is basically 10th level, 15th level.
Okay,
You know,
very interesting. But were there
Yeah.
people who were particularly passionate about approaching the problem from a social science perspective, right? And some from the science perspective?
I'd say 50% of this class will probably land up not in the sciences.
Okay.
And, you know, because that's not unusual.
Right.
Carleton kids are very good at the sciences. But the kind of scientist you have to be to want to do just science is, you're slightly mad like me. Like, we really care about it so much that it's more important to be something else. Right? But also, it's not as rewarding because the feedback from science is so slow. You do some work for 10 years and the feedback comes, 15 years later, it's not a bad thing. Or something. Whereas with this, you see the impact of science like instantaneously. It's hard not to want to jump into that, And so I have sent students on. I used to think I was destroying students' lives by sending them to quantum mechanics, and as I said, 20 years later, I find out that quantum computing is a big deal, that they actually make money. But in this way, I think I'm sending them. See, the simple thing is what I said. The economy is transitioning. The people who took advantage of the transition from coal to oil control the world right now.
Right.
Saudi Arabia, right? Okay, the people who control the transition from oil to nuclear control the world also.
Right.
Nuclear power.
Interesting.
Whoever controls the transition from nuclear to solar and wind, which is different because it's distributed. Therefore, it's a different kind of takeover. Right? Coal, oil, nuclear, you need resource right here. Sun, everyone's got sun, right? So this changes power dynamics sociologically, politically, in a way that it's small wonder that we're getting pushed back from the entrenched.
Very interesting. So at this,
Can't think of everything simultaneously. Right? So someone in a job, there's no choice. There'll be jobs.
There will be jobs. Fair enough. So I mean, I'd urge the students at this point. It's very rare that you would get this chance to interact with him directly. So I think we have a question from Ayan here. Says, all the fossil fuels are coming to an end, and when burned, they'll also produce hazardous gases like CO2. But on the other hand, hydrogen is a source of high energy and only produced with water when burned. To what extent hydrogen can be used as the main source of energy in the near future?
So nothing can be a source of energy. Right? Fossil fuels are a storage point of solar energy at the end of the day. Where does fossil fuel come from? Solar energy hit a plant which made photosynthesis, they became green, carbon got fixed in the plant, it got compressed by dinosaurs and rocks and stuff into gas, right? So fossil fuels are a storage unit. Hydrogen can only be a storage unit. There's only one source of energy, actually there are three sources of energy. Solar, which is coming in from outside, and geothermal, which is coming from inside, right? Which is because of radioactivity deep inside the rocks, which is burning the lava shava. That's what that is geothermal, right? That is geothermal deep down. And the third is weird, not very profitable, but just technically is tidal. Because that's actually solar and lunar gravity making water slosh around. Hydrogen is not, of course. You can only store energy in bonding things in splitting water. If I split water into hydrogen and oxygen, I'm storing energy from it. Hydrogen by itself is no source as such. Okay. And the next question is, yes, machine learning, why not? In fact, more than machine learning, I would say human learning, right? The first network I want to warp is yours. You know, as in change your behavior. Why do we all think that we need energy to be happy? Is what I'm trying to say. And that I'm not saying so much to you. Indians still don't know what it means to waste energy. Or Westerners. I live, not because I'm selfish, but by social convention, in a large house that's centrally heated. That's how American professors live. I feel very weird about it all the time. Why am I not locally heated? I only occupy 1 corner. The Indians wouldn't even dare to centrally heat a house. But here's the default. Right? Indians possibly afford to. I always tell people the coldest I've ever been in my life is Delhi. Because I grew up when it was like 0 degrees C in winter, and God, you just stand in front of the radiator, burn your feet. Right? But in the US, everything's warm all the time. Hey, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have one more question about.
Very weird. Well, there's a very weird on your question. Yes, everything matters. Everything matters, and as networks change, because right now it is dig out coal, truck it across large regions, put it in a central spotlight in the crust, burn a lot there, radiate a lot of heat around there, radiate electricity out, wasting all the way back. Now we're going to solar done. Right? This is totally changing the way people think about it. No wonder people go like, oh wait, I'm in the coal trucking business or resisting this. Or wait, I'm in the distribution business or resisting this. One of my good friends is, okay, I won't name him just in case it's complicated, but he's the CEO of a solar company. He said, coal, you build it and you hire 50,000 people to run the whole system. In solar, you build it and then 2 people to dust off the solar panels once in a while. It changes things considerably. Yes, so it changes the economy, right? Or all sorts of stuff is happening.
We've got one more question, Professor, on a very interesting one, which is what is the priority at this point? Is it learning about the problem or is it trying to solve it already?
Yeah, I would say obviously learning is more important than solving. Stupid solution is bad. But what I was trying to achieve there was embedding you in a solution that's ongoing, where you want to get to the point where you're proposing the solutions. But right now you're learning by being embedded in the really the, forgive me, brain dead things. Take it. Anyone can tighten a screw. Anyone can connect A to B. Anyone can do a spreadsheet. And they need spreadsheets. They need this. So start at the bottom, apprentice model. I don't know if you noticed, but the guy in the gray t-shirt and brown shorts without the beard, that was me. I was digging. I looked a little younger because I didn't have a gray beard. But I learned a lot. I was like, oh, wow, this farmer is smart. To assume that answers are only in textbooks is the silliest thing. Yes, the answers to certain quantum mechanics questions are only in textbooks. But the answer to human problems are not in textbooks. Okay, I invoked Sanat with this before, so I will say this now. Look, anything you're taught in a textbook, any problem you see in a textbook is a dead problem. It's a problem we know as a solution. It's like parts that's being laid open for you to study. Right? So what we need to understand is how do you deal with a live problem, one that's wriggling up there, and how do you learn it? Well, I wouldn't say go solve it. That'd be foolish. You'd be swallowed alive on a problem. Right? But what I will say is that here's someone who thinks he has a solution and needs a few hands. Come by.
Right. Professor, I have another question. I think directly connected to that, which is, do you think part of the reason why we are sort of in a lag in solving these problems is because the youth that we are training are not really prepared or perhaps motivated to even work on these problems?
I think motivation would be a very rude thing to think is missing. I think all people, older retired people, people in their 50s, like, people you might be looking at or something. No, all of us want meaning. No one wants just a job.
Right.
You want your work, but neither are we so selfless that we say, yeah, meaning, so I don't care about the roti kapra makan and Netflix and the outing. We need both all those things, right? But the point is, I don't think that's the issue. I think we have literally had a mindset which is, I would say, industrial, and that's why you need to understand the sociology of what you're doing, right? So what I mean to say is that challenge authority. In this case, I'm challenging the authority of the current energy system, right? Which it doesn't. I don't have to be very crazy politically to say, look, whoever profits probably has an interest in not letting it change, right? And that's true. That's true whether you think of it as an evil plan or a good plan. It doesn't matter. You will resist change if you think your plan is better for you. So we're not training them well, but that's a systematic thing. I don't think it's an individual problem. The world is set up in the wrong way and has not adapted to the 21st century.
Yeah. Right. I think we have one more question from Ayan, which is, and I think it pops up quite a bit in these discussions, which is around the efficiency of solar panels. Right? Do you think with the solar panels that we have, are they even a viable solution?
Okay, so I will say in a very Gandhian way, I hope you forgive me, there's way more than enough for everyone's need and way more than not for everyone's greed.
Right.
We have lived with 0.4% to 4% absorption of solar energy by plants.
Yeah.
This barely absorbs 2 to 4%. In fact, 18 to 20% of the theoretical maximum of 30% might ruin the system. If we suck all that kind of solar energy out of the air, don't let it hit the ground. I'm not worried about that. There's no question we have enough energy floating around. How we use it is the problem. For example, in the United States, it's very normal to burn fossil fuel to heat yourself. And that's true all over the world. In fact, you do it all the time, I'm sure. Or you see people do it. But actually, it's far more efficient to move heat around to something called heat pumps. And a heat pump is something you know very well, except we don't think of it that way. A refrigerator is a heat pump. It moves the heat from inside your refrigerator to out to the back. Okay, and the back was outside the house, then you'll be pumping heat from inside to outside. A refrigerator and air conditioner is a heat pump. And just run it in reverse. You can't bring heat into the house from outside too. And that's called and where would you find the heat? Turns out that if you go 30 to 40 feet below the ground, there's a constant temperature regime where you can dump energy and take energy out. Just like you say earthing the capacitor for electricity, you can earth for heat. And this is how France lives, for example. Because they don't want to be dependent on natural gas from Russia. Because they're scared of being dependent on natural gas from Russia. Americans don't care. We have natural gas. So economics, technology, attitude, need, greed, all linked. Politics, all
Lovely.
correct.
So I think we're out of questions. Professor, do you want to make any closing remarks before I end the session?
Closing remarks. Okay, so I don't know about Atria University specific stuff, but I will tell you that you will. I don't know. I don't have words of wisdom. I think you should focus on the fact that you can find lives of meaning and challenge and fun easily enough. You don't have to be a super specialized person. You just have to find the right problem with the right people and the right reasons to work with those things. I guess that's the best way. That's all I got.
That's helpful. Thanks, Professor. Thanks a lot, everyone, for all your enthusiastic participation. And yes, just closing remarks on Atria. Or some of you have already applied, some of you are probably thinking of applying, but this whole idea of project-based learning, of acknowledging that problems are complex, of understanding problems from multiple perspectives goes to the heart of Atria's curriculum. Just for everyone's information, our round 2 deadline is February 16th in case any of you are planning to apply. And if you have any questions on the admissions, please feel free to contact me or anyone from the admissions team. Thanks a lot, Professor.